universe is a vast and mysterious realm, filled with celestial wonders that have captivated the human imagination for millennia. Among these celestial phenomena, the appearance of blood moons, total lunar eclipses that cast a reddish hue over the moon's surface, has long been a source of fascination and speculation, particularly within the context of biblical prophecy. In the pages of the Bible, we find numerous references to these remarkable events, often portrayed as harbingers of significant events and transformative moments in human history. From the prophecies of the Old Testament to the visions of the book of Revelation, the blood moons have been imbued with a sense of divine significance, their appearance serving as a clarion call for the faithful to heed the warnings and prepare for the coming changes. As we delve into the biblical accounts and the scholarly interpretations of these prophetic passages, we will explore the deeper meaning and significance of the blood moons, and how they might inform our understanding of the past, present, and future of our world. The first mention of the blood moons in the Bible can be found in the book of Joel, where the prophet declares, "The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes." Joel 2 verse 31, this passage, echoed in the New Testament book of Acts, has been a source of intense speculation and debate among biblical scholars and theologians. Many believe that this prophecy is a reference to the series of 4 consecutive total lunar eclipses, known as a tetrad, that occurred in 1493 to 1494, 1949 to 1950, and 2014 to 2015. These blood moon tetrads, which are relatively rare occurrences, have been seen by some as fulfilling the biblical prophecy and signaling the approach of a momentous period in human history. But the significance of the blood moons extends beyond the specific prophecies of Joel and Acts. In the book of Revelation, the Apostle John describes a vision of the end times, in which he witnesses the opening of the 6th seal, which brings about a series of cataclysmic events, including the sun becoming black as sackcloth and the moon turning to blood. Revelation 6 verse 12. This passage has been interpreted by many as a reference to the same celestial phenomena described in the book of Joel, suggesting that the appearance of the blood moons is intimately connected to the unfolding of God's plan for the end of the age. Furthermore, the biblical accounts of the blood moons are often linked to other prophetic passages that speak of signs in the heavens, such as the star that guided the Magi to the birthplace of Jesus, or the darkening of the sun and the quaking of the earth at the time of Christ's crucifixion. These connections have led many to believe that the blood moons are not merely astronomical curiosities, but rather divinely orchestrated events that serve as signposts, marking the pivotal moments in the unfolding of God's redemptive plan for humanity. One of the most intriguing aspects of the biblical prophecies surrounding the blood moons is the way in which they seem to intersect with significant historical events. For example, the blood moon tetrad of 1493 to 1494 coincided with the expulsion of the Jews from Spain and the subsequent voyages of Christopher Columbus, which ushered in a new era of exploration and colonization. Similarly, the blood moon tetrad of 1949 to 1950 occurred in the aftermath of the establishment of the State of Israel, a momentous event that many Christians view as a pivotal fulfillment of biblical prophecy. And the most recent blood moon tetrad of 2014 to 2015 took place against the backdrop of rising global tensions, the resurgence of anti-Semitism, and the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. These historical correlations have led many to believe that the appearance of the blood moons is not merely a coincidence, but rather a divine sign, a celestial signpost that points to the unfolding of God's plan for the world. As we delve deeper into the biblical accounts and the scholarly interpretations of the blood moons, we begin to see a tapestry of interconnected themes and motifs that suggest a profound and multifaceted significance to these celestial events. One of the most prominent themes is that of judgment and redemption. In the biblical narrative, the blood moons are often associated with times of upheaval, conflict, and divine judgment, when God's wrath is poured out upon the unrighteous and the unfaithful. Yet, at the same time, these events are also seen as harbingers of a new era, a time of restoration and redemption for those who have remained steadfast in their faith. This dual aspect of the blood moons, as both a harbinger of judgment and a sign of hope, is reflected in the way the prophets of the Bible describe these celestial phenomena. For example, in the book of Joel, the prophet speaks of the blood moons as a prelude to the great and awesome day of the Lord, a day that will bring both terror and salvation to the people of God. Similarly, in the book of Revelation, the appearance of the blood moons is linked to the opening of the sixth seal, which ushers in a series of cataclysmic events that will shake the very foundations of the earth. Yet, even in the midst of this upheaval, the book of Revelation offers a vision of a new heaven and a new earth, where God's eternal kingdom will be established, and his people will be redeemed. This interplay between judgment and redemption, between destruction and restoration, is a central theme in the biblical narrative, and the blood moons are seen as a powerful symbol of this larger spiritual and cosmic struggle. Moreover, the biblical accounts of the blood moons also highlight the theme of God's sovereignty and the unfolding of his divine plan. Throughout the scriptures, the appearance of these celestial phenomena is often portrayed as a sign of God's active involvement in the affairs of the world, a tangible expression of his power and his control over the course of human history. In this sense, the blood moons are not merely astronomical curiosities, but rather divine signposts that point to the larger tapestry of God's redemptive plan for humanity. They serve as a reminder that, even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, God's sovereign will is at work, guiding the course of events towards an ultimate and glorious conclusion. As we consider the prophetic significance of the blood moons, it is important to acknowledge the diversity of interpretations and perspectives that have emerged over the centuries. While some scholars and theologians have embraced the idea of the blood moons as harbingers of significant events, others have been more cautious, warning against the temptation to engage in overly literal or speculative interpretations of these celestial phenomena. One of the key challenges in interpreting the biblical prophecies surrounding the blood moons is the inherent complexity and symbolic nature of the language used in the scriptures. The prophets often employ vivid and metaphorical language to convey their messages, and it can be difficult to discern the precise meaning and application of these prophetic utterances. Additionally, the historical context and cultural worldview of the biblical writers must be taken into account, as their understanding of the cosmos and the nature of divine intervention may have differed significantly from our modern scientific perspective. Nevertheless, despite these interpretive challenges, the biblical accounts of the blood moons continue to captivate the imagination of believers and non-believers alike, serving as a powerful reminder of the enduring mystery and fascination that surrounds the celestial realm. As we ponder the prophetic significance of the blood moons, it is important to approach the subject with a spirit of humility and an openness to diverse perspectives. We must be willing to engage in thoughtful and nuanced discussions, drawing upon the insights of biblical scholars, theologians, and scientific experts, in order to deepen our understanding of these remarkable celestial phenomena and their potential implications for our world. Ultimately, the blood moons and their prophetic meaning are not simply a matter of intellectual curiosity or speculation, but rather a call to deeper spiritual reflection and discernment. They invite us to consider the larger questions of our place in the universe, the nature of divine providence, and the unfolding of God's plan for the redemption of all creation. As we grapple with these profound questions, we may find that the blood moons serve not only as signposts of the past, but also as beacons of hope for the future, reminders that, even in the midst of darkness and uncertainty, the light of God's love and grace continues to shine, guiding us towards a future of greater understanding, unity, and redemption.